If you want something, you got to go after it. But what really makes a difference is connecting with your why. If your why fits someone else's why, boom, magic. If I can see a bright future and paint it and share that picture with others, like, come on. I don't know how we're going to get there, but I want to go there with you. I want to be a part of this.
The biggest names in business didn't start out that way. These are the unfiltered stories of entrepreneurs who turned small business into big success and transformed themselves along the way. Because success isn't just about what you build, it's who you become. I'm Mike Michalowicz, and this is Becoming Self-Made, a podcast from Relay. And today's guest is Brian Scudamore, founder and CEO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Brian Scudamore is the epitome of the saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. What started out as an effort to pay his college tuition has now turned into the world's largest junk hauling business, a stint on Dragon's Den, and a best-selling book. But it hasn't always been smooth hauling, so to speak. I sat down with Brian at 1-800-GOT-JUNK's headquarters in Vancouver, and he's going to give us a window into the parts of his story that don't often get told.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, so good to see you. Yeah, so Brian, tell me, what is 1-800-GOT-JUNK?
1-800-GOT-JUNK is the world's largest junk removal company. It started with $700 in a beat-up old pickup truck. Today, we have over 3,000 trucks, $700 million in revenue. We haul away old furniture, appliances, yard debris, renovation refuse across Canada, the United States, and Australia.
And quiz me, what was the original name? Ask me, because I think I remember. It was Rubbish Boys?
It was Rubbish Boys. You got it.
That's pure.
And it was just me. So I was like, I have a vision for something bigger. Rubbish Boys. Like there was going to be this.
Oh, so it was Rubbish Boy and you added an S.
Exactly.
You painted it on.
Exactly.
So what's the dirtiest, filthiest junk you ever hauled away?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've taken away a freezer full of salmon. Someone goes to a big fishing resort and catches so much salmon and they go away and realize a month later that their power, it was unplugged.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So you've got to take that freezer. There's no way to get that freezer into the truck with all the dead salmon inside without cleaning out the salmon first. It was, not a pretty sight.
That smells horrific, I bet.
Yeah. But on the flip side of weird junk, we've had some cool things too, where the greatest find of all time, actually found in Vancouver. We were doing a job. I wasn't there, but our truck team members were, and they saw on the floorboard of some house what looked like money. And so they called the customer over and said, that looks like money. Customer was doing a reno, so they took a crowbar and jacked up the floorboards, and they're like, it was laid throughout the whole floor to the point that they literally pulled up the floor in the entire house and found $400,000 in cash. But it was 1930 circulation bills, which calculated into today's dollars was $5.3 million hidden away. So truck team members, of course, got a healthy tip, and the person renovating saved $400,000 on their renovation.
Hey, it's Mike. Real quick here. This is our very first episode, and there's something you got to know. I'm doing an exercise with every single guest called Lifeline. I want to explain it to you. The guests on the show will plot on a large poster board an X and Y axis. On the X axis is 5-year increments of their life, and a Y axis, high and low points. Then we reflect on each 5-year period, and they share what was happening. Sometimes it's a high, sometimes it's a low. And if you haven't done this for yourself, I highly encourage you to do it with your friends or family, or even do it by yourself. But what you'll see is your past is revealing your identity. Okay, here's Brian's Lifeline. So here's what I'd like you to do. You know how to do the Lifeline? Have you ever
I haven't done one for a long time, and I certainly haven't done one on camera.
Well, there you go. So just draw the initial chart, which is, I'll do that part for us, and then you're going to do it. So it looks like this. This is the high, and then this is the low.
Yeah.
And what I want you to do is maybe in 5 or 10 year increments, just highlight some of the highs or lows that you've had, the big ones, perhaps before 1-800-GOT-JUNK and then after. Okay. So I'm going to put this up here so we can look at it together simultaneously. Tell me about your childhood. What's this about, Brian?
Yeah. So born in San Francisco, my mother had me at like 18 years old. She remarried, right? Married too young, remarried at 27, I guess. And so those first 8 years of my life, I went from school to school. I went from San Francisco. She remarried my dad, who is a liver transplant surgeon in Canada. So we moved to Canada at about 7 years old, which is about here. And I was bullied. I had like a bowl cut. I had buck teeth, a big gap between my buck teeth. I had no self-confidence. And I was the loudmouth class clown to try and get attention.
Yeah.
And that's all I ever did was try to get attention because I didn't feel loved, accepted.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't have any siblings. I didn't have a lot of friends. They came and went. And it was all a factor really of my ADHD, which nobody talked about then. Now we've all apparently got it because we swipe through all our devices. But I had it so bad that I couldn't focus in school. And when I look at all my childhood report cards, Brian's smart if only he could apply himself. Brian's a disruptor, and not in the entrepreneurial term way, right? Like Brian messes around and doesn't listen and doesn't focus. I went to 14 schools from kindergarten through to the end of university. And the only diploma I received was kindergarten. And I don't say that to be funny. Like, it's true. I didn't graduate from high school. I was one course short of graduating. I'm just like, I can't do this. And I quit school. I talked my way into community college. All my friends were going to university and really good ones. And I felt FOMO. I was totally left out from the crowd. I'm like, I have to go to university, but I don't have a high school diploma. So I had to talk my way in, and my parents weren't going to give me the money for it. So I had to come up with it myself. It was a tight summer job market. And this is where I sort of dropped out of school. And why it's sort of mid versus a low is it was somewhat freeing to me that I'm making my own decisions now, even though it's a scary one. So I drop out of school. I'm in a McDonald's drive-thru. I see a beat-up old pickup truck in front of me, plywood sides built up. It said Mark's Hauling on the side. And I'm like, I'm going to go buy a truck. That's how I'm going to pay for my business. I get out there and I go buy a truck for $700, a few hundred on flyers and business cards. I start driving down alleys and laneways. I've got a business.
So you don't have a formation like an LLC or something?
Nothing. It was just a sole proprietor. It was just me. And I hired a buddy from high school, Dave Snyderman, who was my first employee. But this was where I started the business. And now it's like, I can do something.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about all the kids in the playground wanting to beat the crap out of me.
And you were moving schools, Brian, like constantly.
And so I was always thrown into a new school, a new environment. And I didn't understand what that was going to be like and how hard it would be. So never fitting in. And this is interesting because I joined an organization that you and I both adore, the Entrepreneur Organization. They called it YEO, the Young Entrepreneur Organization. Now, as we get some gray, they remove the Y. So the EO Entrepreneur Organization, I joined in 96 when I was 26 years old. And that was the first time I'm like, oh my gosh, I found my tribe. I found my people.
How does someone know they found their tribe? Or how do you go out about finding your tribe?
I think it was by accident that I found my tribe, but it is that whole birds of a feather flock together. I joined EO and instantly I'm like, these are my people. Now, what's interesting though, is it was only a year or so after I went and joined EO. And then I'm like comparing myself to others, which I don't recommend people do. It's not a good thing. It's not healthy. They had bigger businesses than me, much more glamorous than junk removal and garbage. People had bigger visions. They had the money and they had the education. So I immediately started to feel like crap here.
Oh, so this is just a comparative thing. Did something actually happen? Was there an event?
What happened is I built $1 million business over 8 years. I felt great about that. But I suddenly took a major drop off a cliff because I wasn't enjoying my business because I didn't have confidence in myself anymore.
Yeah.
I'm around my tribe, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't have the education. I don't have the money. I don't know if I can build this. I didn't have my own personal car. My forum used to bug me. They're like, how come you don't have a cell phone? And why don't you own a car other than a junk truck? I was trying to manage costs and I would go on a date driving, my rubbish truck.
That's
I'm not
amazing.
kidding. I know, but it was like, that's the way I had to roll. But when I showed up to my first forum meeting to meet these guys, they were like, I don't know about this. This guy's in this old beat up garbage truck, really?
Yeah. Isn't that so interesting? Because I think today you garner more respect from the entrepreneurs because you're doing that than anything.
Like I've learned to not care what people think about that sort of stuff because I know money doesn't buy happiness. It doesn't for me.
Yeah.
What buys happiness is growth and friendship and opportunities and making a difference and how we treat our people.
Yeah.
So the possessions don't matter.
But there was a gutsy thing you did, and I don't remember where it was, you fired the entire company.
Yeah, so that happened here. Let's do a little,
red.
like, this is growing.
Yeah.
0 to 1 million, right?
Yeah.
1 million. But what happened here was definitely a challenge 5 years in and then back up.
I want to say this may be one of the greatest moments and decisions that got the company to where it is today. In my opinion, is it what happened? Give me the details.
5 years into my business, I fired my entire company. I didn't keep the person answering the phones. I didn't keep anybody. And the reason being is we're a company with no private offices. Back then, we had one private office that I would never use, but I started hiding out there because I didn't enjoy my team. I wasn't having fun in my business. And when I got introspective to find out why not, I realized I don't have the right people for me. These aren't people I enjoy. They were negative, glass half empty. They didn't see a bright future. It was just a job, lots of complaints. So I took ownership, and on this day, I literally let them all go. I sat down and I said, I'm sorry. 2 words that I owned, and I felt it. Team meeting, 11 people. 1 bad apple spoils the whole bunch. There were 9 sort of bad apples. The other 2, maybe I could have saved, but I'm like, I'm going to clean the slate. So I went from 5 trucks down to just the one that I could drive, answering the customer calls in the phone while I'm hauling junk, canceling customer appointments like crazy, rebuilding the business, to then learn that day, it's all about people, finding the right people and treating them right. So I had to get out there and start to create an energy of finding the right people that I wanted to treat like friends and family and help with their future, and that they saw the world that I saw.
You had a business approaching $1 million in revenue. You had 11 people.
Yeah.
And you say, I'm going to start anew. What was their reaction? Were they pissed?
It was funny. It's interesting. I mean, it's hard to go back that long and really remember what it was like. But I think I remember that there was a level of empathy, frustration that they were losing their jobs, but they appreciated that I owned it. I said, hey guys, I'm sorry. I've not given you the love and support you've needed. I have not treated you with the respect that you deserve. I have not created a vision for you to thrive in my company. And I need to start again. I don't know how else to do it. And so I did. I ripped off the Band-Aid and started again.
Has this story been about building friendships?
Yeah, a lot of it's been having like the right life partner, my wife, and having a family with 3 kids and having friends and having community. It was hard out there. You know, when you say it's entrepreneurship is lonely at the top.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of loneliness here until I discover EO.
Yeah.
But then when I compare myself to others and go, oh my gosh, what is going on here? This was a big turning point here. I created the painted picture.
I remember the story. Tell me about it.
I'm in EO, and I learned that if you're trying to solve a problem, go to a creative place.
Yeah.
My problem is I'm comparing myself to others. I'm not enjoying my business as much, and I'm feeling like I don't have what it takes. Maybe myself, or I might not even have the right business idea. So I go to Bowen Island, like an hour right behind you. My parents have this summer cottage on the water. I go sit on their dock, and I pull out a sheet of paper, inspired by go to a creative place. My mental state is, and I'm in this doom loop of don't have the money, don't have the talent, don't have the idea. Look at everybody else. And so I'm feeling kind of depressed and down, but I'm like, okay, Brian, shift the narrative here, create a brighter future. What could it look like if only I could imagine? So I take this sheet, I write 1 page, flip it over the other page, and I swear to God, 5 years later, that painted picture happened. I never changed a word. And what I did is I went from a doom loop of not where do we want to go, but where will I go? What can I see? And I got chills after I wrote it. I read this thing and I'm like, I don't need to compare myself to others. I need to compare myself to this vision that I'm trying to crystal ball. I said we'd be in the top 30 metropolitan centers by the end of 2003. This was 5 years. Because Vancouver was ranked the 30th biggest city in North America.
Yeah.
So every city bigger, we can make that happen. I said we'd be the FedEx of junk removal, clean, shiny trucks, friendly, uniformed drivers, on-time service, upfront rates. And I said we'd be on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
Which is right there.
So EO, compare myself. Wow, I feel like crap. Write a painted picture that imagines a bright future, including things like Oprah. And it happened. So this highlight here, this high was not really about Oprah. It was the symbolic nature of if I can see a bright future and paint it and share that picture with others. Because I took the painted picture and shared it with my team. And about half the people said, Brian, like, what are you smoking here? Some hope dope? Like, there's no way this is going to happen. 30 metros, Oprah, like, come on. The other part said, I don't know how we're going to get there, Brian, but I want to go there with you. I want to be a part of this. So we had this community, this company family that said, we're going to get there. And Oprah proved that we could. We had 35 million viewers watching our story. I'm on stage with Oprah just going, oh my gosh, what is this? Proof that if you imagine a bright future, you never know, it might just happen. 2006, we go from 2 million around after EO to 106 million for 1-800-GOT-JUNK under the leadership of Cameron Herold.
Okay, I got to ask you about that. What does it feel like, though? So $1 million business is remarkable. $100 million business is unbelievable.
I can imagine in retail, the Christmas season where it's so chaotic, right? Like that's the busy, 50% of your revenues combined into that 1 month. Yeah. As the business went from 2 million to 106, it felt like every day was Christmas. It was just busy and chaotic. And I realized Cameron Herold, who was also an EO member, who was in my forum group, who said he'd never work for me, it was what he said. I invited him into the business as a consultant because I had some challenges to fix in terms of understanding growth, and he fell in love with the business and in us working together. So we became this two in the box, two heads better than one, but we were both ADHD, ready, fire, aim types, or fire, ready, aim types. And we started making mistakes. And when we got to 100 million in revenue, things started to kind of collapse a bit. The culture was getting worn and stressed. People were looking at us with less confidence. You guys don't know what you're doing. You're wasting money. You're spending money in areas that isn't paying off. And that we really didn't know how to lead a $100 million business. And they were right. So I had to take my best friend at the time. I was the best man in Cameron's wedding. And I had to sit him down over breakfast and say, buddy, we're done. This isn't working. And I blindsided him, which I regret looking back. I had a board that helped me see that, or helped drive me to we need to protect the rest of the company by keeping this a secret from him until we've got all the paperwork and we're ready. But we had such a good friendship that I should have been able to say, hey, maybe this isn't working. Maybe we need to change things up a bit.
Yeah.
So I fired Cameron. Now, fortunately, he and I are great buddies today. I mean, it took a couple of years probably to heal that.
Sure.
But he would agree he wasn't the right person to take it beyond 100 million. And nor was I.
But that's so courageous. Today, 700 million in revenue. Is it because of that hard decision? Not alone, but did you need new leadership? And how do you know when someone who founded a business isn't the right person to lead the business, so to speak?
Yeah, it was at $100 million in revenue, you need order. You need systems. You can't be scrambling with your head cut off like a chicken running around. It just doesn't work. And that's how we lived. And so we had to take it down 1,000 and go, okay, hold on. Let me bring on the right person who can help us scale to that next level. There are life cycles of companies that we all go through if we're lucky. And 1 million is the hardest on the spectrum of getting to 1 billion because you're figuring it out. You don't know if you have a business. You don't know what kind of people to hire. You can't necessarily afford these great people. 10 million, you start to get a bit of momentum. You start to get some confidence and things start to grow a little bit. You start to realize you need systems and processes. So 10 million is hard, but not as hard as 1 million. It gets a bit easier at 100, but you're still just chaos. The easiest is 1 billion. And as a $700 million business today, I focus as the leader, and I would say it's the easiest. I'm in my areas of unique ability. I do things I love. I do things I'm great at. And I've got a team of people that are experts in their areas. And we've figured out the systems on how to stay tight and communicate and work together. And so it is easier. I mean, it took us 8 years to get to 1 million in revenue. We will do 1 million in revenue by 10 a.m. this morning for one day, right? So it's that momentum, but that wouldn't be possible if I didn't find and keep the right people and have them trust in me at the same time. So we go back to Cameron Herold. He wasn't the right guy. I had to make that courageous decision and I had to go find the right person. So who do I go find? An ex-Starbucks CEO who I thought, like, what a great brand. Like, oh my gosh, this is going to be unbelievable. What happened was we almost bankrupted the company together in those 14 months. I took ownership because I brought this person on. The financial meltdown of 2007, 2008 did not help.
Horrible times, yeah.
We went from 125 million to 80 million in a year. And we were overspending, and I almost lost the business. This person, this ex-Starbucks person, was actually trying to raise private equity, and I wasn't completely in the loop on it all, and it made it very difficult.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm losing control of my business. There's a new leadership team that I'm not really connected with, and I abdicated the growth of the business.
That may be the key, is abdication.
Yeah.
So you have to reinsert yourself,
Yeah.
I presume, when you abdicate. How do you do it? Is it another kind of meeting like you had with Cameron, a cup of coffee, I got bad news type thing?
Yeah, so this is the big low here.
So this isn't too long ago. This is 15 years ago?
Correct. The company just crashes. This big event happened. I lose a ton of employees. After abdicating and I step back in, I get rid of the CEO or the COO, and I get rid of this person's entire team because I can't afford them. We're almost bankrupt. I got to hunker down.
So that person came in with how many other people?
This person brought in people.
So, okay, so you hired not a person, a tribe.
Yeah.
And a culture, a different culture.
Different culture of professional management, which we needed, but I needed professional management with a leader who believed in me at the same time. And I don't think this leader believed in me as an entrepreneur. And so my confidence was back to like being a kid where I'm like, how come I'm in my own company and I feel like an alien? So I get rid of this person, then the whole team. I elevate middle management up and I say, I can't tell you why this has happened, but this has happened. This is the decision I made. People thought I was crazy, was why I couldn't really explain it. They didn't know that I saw what I saw in this person and that it wasn't working and how bad the finances were. And I said, I need you to be here with me and believe in me. And I'm going to give you all the reasons to believe, but let's go. I didn't lose a person for years. They stuck with me, thankfully. And they believed it was the right decision because we started to grow again. And just as we're starting to grow again, I go find the right president/COO for me. I learned this time around, I had the wrong person for me and one mishire. Think of those 11 when I fired the whole company. This is one hire in the company and it started to poison the rest of the business. So when I had to go find the right person, I said, what am I looking for this time around? First and foremost, someone who wants to be a partner, that will be a partner with a founder, even not, if not financially, just in spirit, to say, we are two in the box. We are going to make this happen together like a yin and yang. And I took a sheet of paper and I wrote a list. All the things on one side that I was great at, that I love to do, that are needed in the company.
Of that.
Vision, sales and marketing ideas, creative juice into the business, spokesperson, storyteller. Things that I didn't like were reviewing the financials, managing the money, hiring, building a team, developing a team.
Interviewing with Mike Michalowicz.
No, that's good. I'd put that on the good side. Okay. So I took that list and I said, of all the things I'm bad at that I don't like to do, what am I going to do to find someone who can do those? And I flew on planes, 75 different interviews of potential presidents across Canada and the US. And I found one person that my network said, 3 different people had said, the painted picture vision of who you're looking for is Eric Church. And so Eric was one of those 75 and became the guy. And it's been 14 years. We've never had a fight. We debate. We have passionate discussions, but we work so well together in driving this business forward that since Eric's come in, he's 7-folded, or we have, the business in terms of revenue.
Wow.
It's just amazing. I mean, I've been really lucky with Eric to find not only a great friend there, but a great partner who's helped us grow. And when I can sit down and realize it's not lonely at the top because Eric's there.
That's phenomenal. If you could look back to this child and give some lessons or advice, anything you would say back to little Brian, bucktooth Brian?
So people often ask me in interviews, what would you do differently? And I always say nothing. I needed to learn the lessons that I learned. I needed to get kicked out of so many schools for skipping and being a bad kid. I needed to fire my entire company to get to where we are now. We win awards for best workplaces in all sorts of different countries, right? And the culture and all this stuff. And so I'm proud of that, but that came from the school of hard knocks of us figuring this stuff out and making mistakes. So advice to bucktooth, greasy hair, bowl cut hair Brian was probably just be patient. Just trust you're going to make some mistakes and have some failures, and that's good because that's how we learn.
I think you and I both read the same book, The Blue Ocean Strategy.
Yeah.
And when you started 1-800-GOT-JUNK, it was pretty much a blue ocean. It was a mom and pop business only. But people saw your success, and so the duplicates, the R&Ds, rip off and duplicate folks come in. Is it a red ocean now? How do you feel about folks that come in and copy what you're doing? How do you compete?
No, I think that we created an industry. We did. It was called rubbish removal. We changed it to junk removal, and we inspired other competitors. One was in here last week, the largest junk removal company in New Zealand. He flew out from New Zealand to spend 45 minutes with me asking me questions.
And you're willing to meet with someone like that?
Yeah, he's an EOer, and he's like, "Are you sure? You're willing to meet?" We openly exchanged information, and like, he'll find it otherwise, right? Why not? Why not be open, and why not make some friends along the way in the industry? And so I think we inspired an industry, and it hasn't become a red ocean because we've just stayed on top with trying to do the best we possibly can for the customer, making it easy for our customers and our people. And the bar is high. And so people haven't been able to compete in the same way. And when we find people doing things better, we try and adopt that.
But what if Mr. New Zealand opens 1-800-GOT-MORE-JUNK? Like, I mean, he goes right after the jugular.
Yeah.
I know some of your competitors have because I know of them.
Of course.
Do you still invite them in the space? How do you mentally cope with that?
I think the devil you know versus the devil you don't. Like, keep your enemies closer, right? I mean, I don't have a lot of enemies in the world, but I say competitors, yeah, come on in, check this place out.
If someone said, you wouldn't believe Brian is, what would be the fill in the blank?
Probably you wouldn't believe how disfocused Brian can be.
Yeah, I wouldn't believe that at all.
Yeah, like I can sit down in an interview for an hour and just be fully in this conversation, but it's hard for me. It's all the times that I'm in a meeting, what people wouldn't know about Brian, maybe my close employees and partners here would. But when I sit down in a meeting, like 90% of that meeting, I'm not there. It's hard for me. I'm thinking of other ideas. I'm thinking of other things and distracted. It is really hard for me to narrow and stay focused. And so I don't do well in meetings.
If someone asked me, I would say, you wouldn't know that Brian is an introvert. And here's my, you're so extroverted. You're out there. You have your television show, Dragon's Den, which I want to hear about. But when we go to our annual meetup, there's the 60 or now 80 of us in that room. Is that a fair assessment? You're an introvert that's bringing about extroversion.
Yeah, and before I answer, you're an introvert too, right?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
So it's interesting because people, both you and I, would think like, oh, we're all, let's get attention, have fun, be the life of the party. I can be that and have fun, but then I get tired.
Yeah, me too.
Mentally, I understand that about you, and I pull away. And I'm like, oh, I can't do this anymore. So that's where I'm an introvert, is I need to pull back and recharge. I can't do it for too long. I don't like to be the center of attention. I get that my job puts me at the center of attention, but I don't want, like Dragon's Den, I know makes an impact.
Yeah.
Being on a platform to talk about entrepreneurship, but to sit there for 12 days in a row, filming the entire season, 100 pitches for 10 hours a day, it is the hardest thing for someone who's ADHD.
I do want to ask about Dragon's Den. What's that experience like being on television? Who are the entrepreneurs you're serving? Tell me about that. How'd you get invited in? Yeah.
So I got invited in the first season, and I didn't know what it was going to become. I didn't know what being a dragon meant. When I got in, I lost it to the person that ultimately got the role. And I'm like, okay. But once the show ramped up and it became a massive thing, I'm like, oh, missed an opportunity. So I was asked to audition again. They called back and they're like, nope, it's not for you. They picked someone else. I'm like, oh man, back then it probably would have killed my business if I tried to do Dragon's Den and the business. I didn't even have any money to invest in other businesses. So thank goodness it didn't happen. And then 2 years ago, they called me again. So I fly out to Toronto. There's 19 other dragons. And I'm like, I don't have a chance. I do not have a chance. And so I ended up going home that day and then waited months. And I'm like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it did. It happened. I was blown away. They said I just filled the perfect hole they were looking to fill. And the timing was right.
What was the hole? Like a nice, genuine guy? Was that
So back to Robert Herjavec. So I called him up closer to, like, I hadn't heard what was happening and whether or not I'm getting it. And Robert was one of the dragons and he knew all the team. And I said, is there anything you can do to help? He goes, why do you want to do this? And I said, I want to do it because it'll make an impact. I love Canadian entrepreneurship. I love entrepreneurship in general. And it is the biggest platform I can think of to spread the love and passion I have for this amazing career choice. I want to do it. I want to help people. I want to learn next level about how to invest. He's like, Brian, you have to follow up and tell them that. You have to tell them that this is why you really want this. And I did. And I think somehow that translated.
There's no question about it.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay. And so I got chills because it was something that if I didn't make that call, it might not have happened. And as entrepreneurs, it's trust your instincts, follow up. Nothing happens on the first time. Dragon's Den took 3 times. Oprah took over a year for us to pitch. Anything big that's happened in the world. We were on the Ellen DeGeneres show. I think she said no something like 19 times. I mean, it was crazy, right? So if you want something, you got to go after it. But what really makes a difference is connecting with your why. If your why fits someone else's why, boom, magic.
Yeah, know why you're doing it and connect with the right people. Well, let's talk about the final day. We only got to 75. I hope for you it's 150 or whatever number you choose.
Thank you. Yeah.
But when that number comes, what do you want people saying about Brian Scudamore?
I have often said, make meaning, not just money. Of course, you got to make money as a business to grow. I mean, if this business wasn't making money consistently, we would have to, if we couldn't figure it out, we'd have to shut it down. I mean, that's life. Yes, you need to make money, but meaning, I think, is more important. When somebody has worked here and been inspired to go to another company or start their own company and do greatness, that's awesome. This is a stop along the way of their journey, or while they're here for as long as they can be here, like an Eric. You know, he's always said this will be the last job he ever has, and I believe it, right? When you find a place you can call home that you know you're making a difference, making meaning, that's what matters. And who said that companies can't make meaning? They can. They create better lives and workplaces. They develop people. They help you be better leaders, better people. And we contribute a service that makes space for possibilities in people's lives. Living the dream, man.
Brian Scudamore, absolute pleasure, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to Becoming Self-Made, a Relay podcast. Follow the show to make sure you don't miss a single episode. And if you like what you hear, rate and review while you're at it. Becoming Self-Made is produced by Relay in partnership with me, Mike Michalowicz, and Pod People.